Welcome everybody to the GT3 doubleheader round 5 at Hungaroring for the 2022 Winter Championship. I'm Jay Alvarez, and with me I have Constable Cody Wassum, my safety car team member for the GT4 series. Wassum, how's it going?
Pretty good. Good evening, everybody. Um, Safety first.
Hopefully, hopefully it will get down to safety first. Hello, Cardo. How's it going? Uh, Glad to be having the stream back this time on the actual Trackalicious Twitch. So out first we have the Division 3 drivers with CC Racing A. Delbecky leading the pack on his outlap. I think it's going to be 5 minutes each here, as the Division 2 drivers will go out next, and then Division 1 drivers after that. For any of you that don't know already, the red on the background of their number means Division 3. Silver means Division... Actually, it's more of a gray. It's Division 2, and white on the background is Division 1 on the overall. No mandatory pit stops for this race, as it's just going to be a 30-minute doubleheader. I think you're going to be doing a small practice into... or no, I think it's just straight into qualifying for the next one. As we'll go on board with Delbeck as he starts his lap. And Wassum, why don't you just kind of give people a rundown, as I know Quardo, Huesco was able to do so yesterday when they were doing some of that education.
Yeah, looks to be a pretty straightforward corner here. Braking point's pretty crucial, but it's actually opens up a lot on the exit. So entry speed's very important, as you've got this long, or sort of long, medium run, and this other straight into a tight, tricky downhill left-hander. Also looks kind of straightforward, but it's not. Very crucial to get a good exit out of there onto the back straight, which leads up to a very tight, twisty, technical middle sector. Hard section to pass, but there's a lot of time to be lost in the game there during the race, especially as we see here in qualifying.
Yeah, and with the new tire model after the update, eating some of these curves is going to be a little bit more tricky, as especially since you only get one outlap to really heat up those tires.
Yeah.
And that's Delbecky just invalidating his lap. He'll get one more attempt at this, though. Go with his teammate. Actually, no, let's go to Jose Bravo, Tacos Locos, who's next driver in line here to cross that start straight finish. Still holding about a lap. And there's his teammate behind him, Santiago Orozco. And so both these drivers get a 147, 148. Matthew Haight crosses the line with a 148. I think we have... oh no, Gabe Carnes crosses the line with a 148 as well. We have Andy Oak going third fastest with a 148 as well. Edward the Train, Royal Racing as well, going 148. Who else is left on there on track? We got Dave Ward of Slow In, Slow Out Racing crossing the line with a 147.4, going fastest overall. And George Elmer takes him out right there with a 147.4, just barely hundredths off on the split. So you can see Dave Ward in P2 with that .010. That's got to be frustrating for some drivers. What do you think, Cody?
Yeah, that's when you get it that close and lose out a position by that little. normally the thing that goes through my head is, any particular corner, if you just braked maybe a meter or two later, or just hadn't spun your tires out of a certain corner, etc. I mean, there's a lot of places over a lap to lose that little amount of time. But yeah, got 2 races tonight. Qualifying's not everything, so
And
yeah,
there,
no reason to write him off.
and there goes Delbeck, able to set a valid lap with 147, taking out one of the wow. So we have 2 drivers in the same stall. That's something new. And usually Chronotis is out there on track first, but he seemed to take a longer attempt to get on. So who is out first? It's Reggie King of Turner Motorsports. We'll go on board with him as he's making his way down the first valid lap. Number 2. How's it going, Brian? Blackfin, Carbon, Steven Kirsch. Hey, how's it going? Pistol Whipham. Hey, thanks for the follow, man. Really appreciate that. You know, Wass, even though Delbecky took out that braking marker, there's still the ones on the side, so I guess it's not too much of an issue for some of these drivers. Yeah.
Still having trouble seeing the train. There we go.
So I wonder if it's going to be that way the entire time. Like if I'm not clicked on it.
Yeah.
I'll just make sure to follow through. Now, Cody, you're familiar with this track. Is there anything that Reggie's doing pretty optimal right now?
Well, this is his out lap right now, correct?
No, this is hot lap. It's first one.
I'm really impressed with how smooth his inputs seem to be, especially through that middle sector. You have a lot of these S's type sections. Doesn't really look like he's understeering anywhere, spinning up the rear tires, so he'll get a nice smooth banker lap here, and who he puts down 4.66, pretty good.
And then in front of him, Jed Enkelman with the 145. Andrew.
So
yeah.
I think if I'm Reggie here, and you see Andrew Pickerel just 0.02 of a second faster. Yeah, a lot of these guys pretty close here. I mean, Reggie and Pickerel are a little over half a second off.
Not for Jet there, yeah.
Jet, so yeah, which isn't massive. I mean, I think those guys have thrown down like a solid banker lap, so now they can really just hang one out for their second lap and be a little more risky and try to gain a few tenths and move up a few positions.
As they're saying that, we have Daniel Cass lastly, who crossed the line with a 146. He's P2, Andrew Pickerel P3, and Chronotis is in 5th. But Chronotis overall is improving the most with over 6/10 faster on his Delta. We have Eric Cassian with 147.8, who's also improving, as well as Spool and sitting there in P12. And then Matt Morrison and Jason Provolone able to get out on track and they did 149s. And Jason Provolone's actually significantly quicker right now with already 3 seconds. Actually, with Chronotis, they're on pace to set a really, really fast. Oh, something happened for Reggie King. He must invalidate his lap going through that final corners. He's just gone straight to the pits. But this is looking very positive for Chronotis. I believe he's going to snatch the top step from Jet Engelman as Chet goes into the pit lane. Oh, just marginally.
Very close.
P2 close for him. Daniel Castellasi sits at P3. We have Eric Cassian in P4. Jason Provolone P5. This is going to be a shakeup for sure, but very interesting to see some of these drivers. Like as Matt Morrison crosses the line, he went from P19 to P15. He's got a lot of Division 3 drivers that he's going to have to compete with. And Eric Miller only able to set a 148. He's also going to be sitting there at the bottom of the Division 2, making his way out. Oh, let's see here. We have Ed Kerstetter of Area 52 Sim Racing out in front. For the end of qualifying for the Division 1 drivers, he's going to be starting his first hot lap. We'll go on board with him. Which one is it? Wait a second, Wassum. I'm gonna. Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So then it's just a screen and then you can see everything. And we'll pull away right about here. So some people were talking about that livery, the Area 52. It's got a nice touch. I like the purple. I think it's like that carbon little flakes on it that really give it some flair.
Purple Lamborghini. I think Rick Ross had a song called Purple Lamborghini. Anyway, we won't get off track.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
On track here, and
Ed Kerstetter going fastest overall with a 144.7, but it's not going to be the fastest one overall, I bet you. We got drivers coming across the line. Riley Manier goes second fastest with a 145.3. Jakob Padberg with a 145.3, just narrely overstepping Riley Manier there. Mike Burkhoff with a 146. Ali Raza crosses the line with a 144.8. Danny Basin, you know he was going to do it. He takes the top step provisionally with a 144.2. And we have Ricardo Rivera in P7 with a 145.4. Any drivers that are still making the cross, as Gage Gonzalez in P2 crosses the line, and he goes second fastest with a 144.5. Just splitting the two Area 52 drivers off that top row.
Yeah, I think we're going to have an interesting run into turn one.
Definitely, as one of the most unfortunate things happened for Ed Kerstetter. He has invalidated his lap, and he is not going to be able to improve upon where he sits in this qualifying round. As Andreas Massacerdo goes fifth fastest with a 145.1. Who else? Every other driver. David Funk has decided not to go out on track for his qualifying, so he's going to be in the very back. That's unfortunate. Jarek Snyder's improving upon his time. Riley Manier crosses the line with no. Actually, does he have enough time to go again? I don't think he does. I think qualifying ended for him.
I think you're right.
He does a 144.4, but Gage Gonzalez has 5/10 going into this final few corners here. He's actually 6/10 up, which means he's possibly going to be able to get on that top step if he doesn't lose out right here. As he gets a good exit, it might be enough to beat P1. Oh, there you have it. Gage Gonzalez takes it with a 143.9. Just stepping over Danny Baisden, Riley Manier, Andreas Mazzucato, Ricardo Rivera, Kerstetter. Going down the line, it's gotta feel good for Gage Gonzalez. As we are about to step out on track, is that actually possible that the car... who is that? That's Ed Kerstetter. He's still out on track. He must have been able to get that across the line before. But it looks to be not really worth it. He's lost a lot of time on that Delta.
Just an extra practice lap.
Can never have too much pracky. We have a lot of drivers just sitting in other people's stalls. That's a new one. And the highly anticipated transition to the race as we are going to get underway with the first race of the doubleheader, followed by, I believe, it will be a direct qualifying into the next race and then race 2. Well, Wass, what are any predictions for this one?
I think the start's going to be crucial. I think this is a pretty tough track to pass on. You only have one good opportunity down into turn 1 and a slight opportunity into turn 2, but really qualifying is very crucial here, and I think the first lap's going to be crucial for these guys, as they're going to be fighting and jockeying for position a lot, because at the whatever position you're in at the end of the first lap, strong possibility you'll be there for the rest of the race, depending on how consistent and clean the drivers around you can be. But difficult track to overtake on, but I think if you can be consistent here, that's pretty important. Like I said, it's tight, technical track.
Definitely see some possible overtakes into that chicane.
Yeah, I think if you can be consistent, you've got a guy on you can you're a little bit faster than if you can stay on his tail and maybe force him into a mistake or get a run out of the final turn. It's possible to get a toe down into turn 1, but yeah, the middle sector is pretty crucial. That's where I think we'll see a lot of guys kind of making mistakes. Maybe not big mistakes, but few may be running off the track, And as you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of corners there that you're usually taking some curb, but with the new tire model, many of these cars don't like the curbs that much. But
Yeah, being
yeah,
unsettled like that.
2 races tonight, so I think a few of these guys, I know my mentality is kind of, yeah, you're using the first race to kind of figure things out, figure out who you're racing, who's far ahead of you, who's close to your pace, etc. But yeah, should be entertaining to say the least.
Can't wait for that first turn. We're just kind of browsing some of the liveries here. Here's the Tacos Locos. And his other car's a Volvo. Wass, what do you have to say about that?
You know what? What's your favorite here, Jason? Which livery is your favorite?
We got 38 seconds left to go. I'm not entirely sure.
30 seconds.
Is that Eric Miller all the way in the back?
That is
Jeez.
Eric Miller, the safety car.
I hate to see it.
Yeah, safety car teammate. If we were to really browse through some of these, I kind of am partial to, I think Turner Motorsports because it just kind of fits. A little blocky.
Yeah, real life livery.
Mm-hmm. Works out.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think as always, Riley Manier and Jed Engelman have knocked it out of the park with their liveries, and
I think Gage is just a little excited as he breaks away from the pack so early on the outlap.
He's ready to roll.
And, you know, having that inside line is really going to be beneficial for this driver as Danny Basin is going to be trying to make a move as early as he possibly can. Because it really sets you up for this next corner. Seen some passing through that corner before.
Yeah, the good thing about turn 1 and 2, and then as you go down the hill here on this long back straight into turn 4, there's a lot of different lines you can take. This first half of the track's pretty wide, so you can kind of set up some moves through here, but yeah, very tricky turn there. Gage is going through right now. Hopefully the guys can keep it clean there and we don't have too many using the runoff. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, and, you know, just taking a quick look at the driver, you can't see him sweating. So there's good news for that driver. So in the last race, I believe it was Gage Gonzalez that won, right? At no, it wasn't the last race.
Danny Basin.
Yeah, it was the race before that at Brands Hatch, the endurance at Brands Hatch. Gage Gonzalez was the actual winner for that one. So these two have both sat on the podium step a couple times, and so we'll definitely see what ends up happening here as we're rounding into that final sector.
As we're about to start here, I think obviously going to be really interesting battles between the guys in the top 10, but also Jarek Snyder down in P14, kind of surrounded by gray drivers on all sides. I think there's could also be some interesting midfield fights.
Oh, absolutely. Jarek Snyder, he's sitting in between the Division 2 sandwich right now. He's got 4 cars ahead of him and 3 directly behind him that are in the Division 2. So he's definitely going to have to split himself away from this pack. We were about to go green, green, green.
Green light. Give it all you can.
Really good. It looks like Danny Basin gets a
A little nice run right
nice
there.
run. We'll see.
Oh, he
Looks
crosses
like he
over.
chops him off. Yeah.
Riley Manier goes,
Oh,
sends it down the
wow.
middle, and he goes
Man.
wide and off the track as Andreas tries to pick up the scraps there, sitting between two Puerto Rico
Got
E-Racing.
3 wide here. Careful, boys. 3 wide all over the place. As yeah, textbook start from Danny there. As
Oh no!
Gage is now. As Ed Kerstetter making up a couple positions as well.
Absolutely. I thought that was going to be an incident right there, as we do have a car that's already off right now. Car number 6.
Matt Morrison. All the way to the back, unfortunately, but 29 minutes left. Yeah, a lot of jockeying for position on that opening lap. I think
Gage is
looking
already...
down
Hmm?
on that straight, we had several drivers going 3 wide at some points there. All settled down for now, though. I want to see if Danny can really pull a gap here or not.
He's already pulling a slight gap with about a second, and he's going a little above, little below. But we'll pull it back to a helo cam so you can really see how close and tense it is for some of these drivers, as we have Riley Manier down in P7, having braked a little late, or thankfully everyone had some awareness to give him some room as he went down that middle line and lost several positions. As Andreas is actually now only a couple of tenths off. Now he's a full... And they're going to go... Whoa! Andreas goes really wide. But he's able to maintain the position as Ed passes Gage Gonzalez. And now the Puerto Rico eSIM Racing is together right there in the back. We have Padberg also getting really close. And it is still pretty high intensity for a lot of these drivers. And as you were mentioning, that gap that Danny Basin's now fulfilling, with all that battling that was happening right through that last couple sectors, Danny Basin has a 2.5 second gap already to P2.
Yeah, I think Danny's happy to let those guys fight and get away from the pack, as they haven't spread out much so far. I mean, I think from about P4 all the way back to P9, guys are still pretty close here as Padberg's going defensive.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Gonzalez there. They went too wide through that corner, and he was the one that ended up suffering from multiple positions. Quality, move by Masachero there.
Oh yeah, like I said, I think a few guys will probably be taking some mental notes here. Like I said, this is only the first race, so yeah, they're still learning a little bit about. I mean, obviously these guys have driven this track and raced on a lot, but kind of learning a little bit about particular drivers, where they may set up a move or not. Yeah, exactly.
As we bounce around just a little bit, just to see where some of these drivers and how close they are on track. So there's everybody separated by only a few tenths. Because we have David Funk, who was in last place at the start of this race, is now sitting in P24. Oh! And able to save it, but losing several positions for that, I would say, understeering moment.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And realistically, we haven't had any real contact being made by any of these drivers. Just a few love taps by car number 3 and car number 44, but that's about it.
Important for these guys here, they're kind of, especially when you're running this close, it's important you don't get too fixated on the car in front and completely forget about guys you have behind you, because it's close. It's really easy to focus on your target in front, forget about the guy lurking behind you that might see an opportunity if you run offline into a certain corner or anything. But it looks like David Funk and Elmer are going to go side by side for the entire first sector here. But
yeah, he was able to
good job to those guys.
Yeah, get by him, keep it clean. He got a better exit going through that. And we have Padberg now just a 10th off of Gage Gonzalez. And Danny Baston holding the fastest lap overall. We'll pull that. Gotta have some reprieve to know that you have your teammate right in front of you, but definitely not. Maybe feeling a little bit of the nerves from Padberg being less than a 10th off of him as he tried to go for the inside run.
Late braking, looks like he might
Bad
go
exit.
a little wide.
Yeah.
Nice move there from Gage to hang on to that. He saw the dive coming from far back, and yeah, we see Alvarez and Riley Manier patiently watching this go on.
Yeah, they're definitely losing time right here as Gonzalez is splitting a little bit from his teammate Rivera just ahead of him and the other Puerto Rican livery there. And Lama Kameha, thank you for the raid, man. That's really cool. It's really awesome. Everyone here at Tracklicious appreciates that, as we are just sitting here in the first race, about 21 minutes left in the doubleheader for round 5 here at Hungaro. A lot of interesting drivers, a lot of interesting things still happening on track. Everybody's still really close. Oh, and car number 39 is off the track. That is David Funk. And he is in the pit lane. And going to look at our leaders here, we have Danny Basin already 3.2 seconds faster than Andreas Masachero, and that gap at Cursor is about a second behind Andreas, who's sitting in P2. And then right behind Ed Kerstetter is Ricardo Rivera in P4 with a full 1.2 second gap. Hello, everybody. Thanks to everybody for joining us here. And then we have Gage Gonzalez, who's fighting Jaka Padberg for P5. Oh. Now it's Wassum. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Is it going to be Jaka Padberg going for the overtake first, or is it going to be Riley Manier, as he has actually got a 2/10 difference here on Ollie Raza?
Yeah, I think Riley's probably just getting settled in a little bit here, and just making a few observations on what the guys in front of him are doing. I don't know quite what strengths are like between the BMW and the McLaren, you know. It's interesting to me that the Alvarez, it seemed like he actually kind of pulled away a little bit in the middle sector.
It kind of looked like he did, as we have two battles happening right now. Padberg's a 10th off of car number 13 right there in front, and his teammate Ricardo Rivera ahead of him is also battling Ed Kerstead for P3, as they are also a 10th off.
And exciting thing about this, especially Rivera and Kerstead, if they start fighting in front, that's just going to allow these guys behind to catch up. So this could turn into a 5-car, 6-car battle pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and we could already see it. Ali Raza is getting closer.
And yeah, we already see like some guys kind of having a sniff or two into turn 1 and turn 2. We're only 11 minutes into this race, so as the clock ticks down, I think these guys are still running this close. Some of these boys are going to start getting a little impatient and start trying to make some moves as Gage runs a little wide through turn 4. Padberg's going to try to make it work around the outside. Gage says, "You got to be kidding me, man."
As they go side by side into the chicane.
Gets a nice run into
oh
the chicane.
No! Another drop
Nice
down
move.
for Gage Gonzalez. Now Ali Raza is just right on the tail.
Very good. I can't believe the drive he got out of turn 5 there, but yeah, nice move into the chicane.
Yeah, Gage Gonzalez was the provisional pole sitter, and now he's sitting in P6.
Riley Manier runs wide in the background.
Absolutely. That's unfortunate for him.
It's unfortunate. He really doesn't want to fall off the back of these guys because I think he has the pace to run with them and make up a few positions.
And we could see a lot of groups forming on this track. Just little trains pushing along here.
Yeah, and also an interesting one looks like Daniel Caslast. He's just 30 seconds off Riley Manier. He's got a nice little pack running with him as
yeah, as we see Jet Engelman sitting P2 in the Division 2 championship as the silver background drivers, and the red is Division 3. Is there ways to see everyone's fastest lap? Unfortunately not, unless we click on them, Steven. Is there anyone in particular you wanted to know about? Right now, Danny Basin still holds the fastest. And Jet's just hanging behind his teammate. Oh, no. Look like there's a bit of contact between these two drivers. What about after the race? Just looking to gauge my pace later on. Well, what times are you kind of looking about here? Because we got our, just briefly going to our, let's see, the best of Andreas was a 144.6. Track is optimum, but the tire temperature change and fluctuates, so it'd be a little varying difference. The slower ones probably. So if we're looking at Jose Bravo, who's the Division 3 leader, which you might say is like the slower group, they were putting up 146s, but his best is a 147 right now. The fastest P Division 2 driver pulled in a 145, and the slowest of those division was, unfortunately, our safety car team member, Eric Miller, who did a 148 of best. Eric Ukassian in P14 did a 147.6. Sorry, he did a 146.8. And we still have this little train continuing to... Oh! Whoa!
No, who's
That's Jet.
I wonder what happened there.
He just spun himself out. It looks like there's no contact with any other driver, and he did go off track. As we have Ed Kerstead in P9.
Wow.
What happened there? Ed Kerstead car number 28, he had an off-track incident by himself. A full off-track incident, so he must have spun himself out of a corner or something. But he's now sitting in P9, and that puts Andreas Masachero into the amazing spot of being P2. Wait, Wassum, I think he was already P2, and Ricardo Rivera now reaps the rewards of being in P3, with Jakob Padberg just behind him. Haven't seen... We got this train still formed here, but nothing yet is happening with them. So now the Division 1 drivers on the overall, you can clearly see who's in P1 and 2 and 3. But when it comes to the Division 2 drivers in the silver background, that's Daniel Kaslassi in P1, Chronotis P2, and Andrew Pickrell in P3. They are respectively in P9, 10, and 11. And then when you look further down the lineup, you have Jose Bravo in P1 in the Division 3 with the red background. Edward the Train with a drive-through penalty, who's probably going to lose out on that P2 spot, with Del Becky and Matthew Haight right behind him in P21 and 22. If I didn't... You know, Wassum, I think that Padberg's going to finally try to make a move here, as he's really reeled in that gap on Rivera. This could actually be Padberg's first podium finish, because I don't think he's actually been on any step just yet. And we'll go down to some of the other drivers here. We have Jason Provolone of Turner Motorsports sitting in P15, looking to overtake his Jed Engelman fighting for Division 2. And that is the car, actually, 2 cars ahead. His teammate Mike Burkoff is between them.
Burkoff have an incident as well?
Let's see. Burkoff, car number 47. He did. In fact, he did have an off-track incident. Switching over to Jakob Padberg here. So you're going to finally try to make that move. You know he's been wanting to.
Yeah, I think what he can do right now is just try to keep consistent pressure on Rivera.
Oh, that almost looked like he was spinning out. Yeah.
And yeah, just try to keep pressure on him, see if he can force an error here, and yeah, if that doesn't work, then I think Jakob will might try to make another lunge into T1. There's always a good opportunity there, but like I said last race, you know, some of these tracks are difficult to overtake on. If they do have a couple obvious overtaking spots,
oh, just saying that.
you know, those are the easier ones to defend. As we see Jet throwing one up the inside.
And he has just passed Jarek Snyder.
Eric, and thought Mike Burkoff was going to have a little sniff there as well.
Well, let's go on, take a look. I want to put it past Mike to try to go for that.
Yeah, it looks like Mike had a much better run through that final turn. Yeah, as I was saying, turn 1, that's an obvious overtaking point, so going to be really easy for guys to defend into it as well, because they'll see it coming and know that's where a guy's most likely to go for it.
Oh, absolutely. As we have nothing but clean corners here for these drivers. And swapping back, we still have Ricardo Rivera heavily defending his P3 finish. If he can last another 9 minutes and 26 seconds with Burke right behind him, and his teammate Gage Gonzalez, who was the pole sitter, sitting in P5 right now. And you have to hand it to Ricardo Rivera. He's been handling this pressure very consistently, keeping it together. Doesn't look like it's wavered him at all. And unfortunately, Wassum, I just don't think I have that kind of, strength.
Oh, wow.
He opened the door, though.
Wow. Yeah. I think, Padberg was trying to apply some pressure, but he was probably feeling some pressure from Gage or his man. He's just throwing it into these.
Yeah, he threw right into that turn. It almost looked like they were going to make contact.
Alvarez is starting to latch onto the back of this pack. Has something happened to Riley Manier again? Looks like he's lost a couple positions to Kerstetter and Castle,
Car number 27. If there, while he has actually lost a couple positions, Riley Manier has not been involved in an actual off-track incident. He's just, lost time.
I think if these guys start battling, we could have a very interesting.
Oh, he was able to get past Daniel Cass last season.
And Egg Kerstetter now a little over 6 seconds off Ali Raza, but if he can catch up to these guys, I think.
And there's Ali Raza down the inside line of Gage.
Into the final turn.
Caught it just in time.
Defensive immediately.
You can clearly see that 6-second gap that Ed Kerstetter was in the back on that straightaway, as he's now making his way into that corner. And quite frankly, Wassum, these 4 drivers have been clean and consistent, and they're still just a few tenths off at the start of this race and still continuing to be down.
Yeah, I mean, as we're about 24 minutes into this race, seeing guys still this close no matter what the position is, I mean, yeah, that's awesome. As, looks like things have settled down a little bit here in the midfield.
You got Eric Miller.
Eric Miller looked like he's setting up a move on Matt Morrison. Will he go for it here? Ah, come on, Miller. The thing is about turn 1 and turn 2, you'll see it especially in Formula 1 a lot, which obviously these are different types of cars and you race them different, but if you can force a guy to go defensive into turn 1, or a guy overtakes you into turn 1, the battle's not necessarily over there, because if you can force somebody to go defensive, or a guy takes a run and dives you up the inside, it's almost better to take that outside line and set up a run into turn 2. So very, very cool section of corners there.
And Eric Yukassian had a little off-track incident, and he's back on track, but lost a couple positions through that. let's take a look here. We have 4 minutes 44 seconds left on the clock. Danny Basin still holding out as our P1 driver, still holding the overall fastest lap. He's got a 2.2 second gap to P2. Andreas Mastachero sitting comfortably there with a 7.2 second gap from Padberg in P3 as he has overtaken both. What? Oh, who's 53? Ricardo Rivera and Padberg had actual contact. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yikes. Yikes. If you can't overtake on the inside line.
I believe in oval racing they'd call that a little bump and run. But, don't see it a lot in GT racing.
Yeah, you hate to see it, Was. Oh my. His podium finish, well, might be possible in the last 3 minutes of this race. With stewarding, post-race stewarding, there is a possibility this driver might be stripped.
Yeah, he could actually
of his title.
He could actually, with the time penalty, drop a few positions. As I see Mike forcing. Now, let's say this is interesting. Mike's a really good, clean driver, smart driver. Takes the outside there, and yeah,
he's gonna get this inside
line.
line.
Run here. We'll
Oh,
see what happens.
no.
Looks like yeah, Jarrett takes the outside line in a turn 2, break a little later, and sweeps the car there. So he's held him off for now.
And Gage Gonzalez still sitting in P5 with his teammate right behind him, Ricardo Rivera. Ricardo could have had that P3 finish. He still might possibly end up in a P5 or P4 position after the shakeup is done. Can't go around them, go through them, as Beachley says. Yeah. In a race as clean as this one, it still has marred in some incidences. And that replay function was brought to you by Race Control. And going off of what we see here. Oh, no! Oh! Oh, Mike Burkoff.
What happened there?
Yikes. I think Constable Cody Wassum's curse of calling him a clean driver sent the universe a little message. Now he should.
Hey, now, don't blame this on me.
He should give the position back, as are the standards, and I believe he's letting him do so. Right there, he goes. Yeah. And that is a driver that is apologized on track. You can clearly see it. He gave the position back.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
From a little bit of damage. That's yeah, you know, that's nobody lost any positions there. We're near the end of the race. So
yeah, speaking of
a little damage should be okay, as we still got Miller and Morrison going at it in the background there.
Yeah, and Andy Oak looking to have a little run at Matthew Haight for position. Oh! Oh!
Oh, wow.
Yikes.
It's all kicking off the last
in the last lap. And that...
as Morrison's going to have a run here.
And now, right now, I believe Andy Oak is just letting people by so he can... Not only that, but maybe give the position back.
Mike Burkoff's actually lost a spot to Jason Provolone there. So
Yep.
looks like that between that contact and letting Jarek back through, it's actually cost Mike a position there.
It needed to be done, though, and I believe he was able to do it.
Yeah.
And even, let's see. Yeah, Andy Oak, knowing that he did something wrong there, per the the rules and just the gentleman's guideline of if you hit a guy off, and he actually, his teammate goes off track right there. But give the position back if you take it unfairly like that. And Mr. Shy Guy definitely isn't bumper cars. Car 222 of Delbecky now sitting off the side there. Believe he's gonna let the leader go past him so he can finish it out, but he hasn't moved. As we have Denny Basin right on the heels of Orozco, and Danny Basin P1 in the first race in this doubleheader.
Well done.
Andreas Mastrochetto is P2. Padberg goes P3. Up to decision, though. He's probably going to lose it to a time penalty. And the Ali Raza, P4, who will probably end up being the P3 driver after stewarding is done. Possibly. It's up to debate on that one. Gage Gonzalez, P5. Ricardo Rivera, P6. Ed Kerstetter, P7. Riley Manier P8. Daniel Cass, lastly, P9. Chronotis, P10. Pickerel is P11. Jed Engelman's 12. Snyder, 13. Provolone, 14. Burkhoff is 15. Reggie King coming in at 16. Eric Cassian's about to be crossing the line here. There's no more real battles happening besides these three drivers, actually. If Spool gets a run, he might be able to pass it. Nope, he's going to take it home. And that is Bravo and Peeve, 18, Spool, 19. Elmer almost done here. He's going to be pulling in a P20. Morrison possibly losing out as Eric Miller is right on the heels. Can they go side by side through this corner and make it happen? No, he is not doing that. Miller definitely staying P22. And Andy O crosses with the P23. Orozco is going to be crossing with the P24. 98 of CC Racing, 25. Ward is 26. Train, 27. Delbecky, 28. Carnes is 29. And David Funk, unfortunate for the driver, he had actually blasted through the early 20s and was going to get into the teens there on position, but then just lost it and went into the pits. So it's unfortunate. We're about to be going underway with a 15-minute qualifying. It's a 5-minute each division. Is there any prizes for this championship? The respect of your fellow drivers. Unfortunately not. Yeah, so we'll be going into... Qualifying's 50-minute qualifying. It's going to start with the Division 3 drivers as we're transitioning over now. And then the Division 2 drivers will go out on track. And then it will end with the 5-minute of the Division 1 drivers on track for qualifying. Just curious. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Wassum, did it play out like you thought it was going to play out? I mean, we had nothing but really distinctly clean racing at that full 25 minutes with, car-to-car action. People were passing cleanly, and then it just kind of unraveled for some of those drivers right at the end.
I think, I kind of figured, these guys, especially the first race, they were kind of just going to be doing a little research, learning a little bit about who was faster in this particular case. who they could rattle and force into mistakes, who they couldn't. But yeah, we had so many of these little groups running close most of the race. I kind of thought we might have a few guys run out of patience eventually, but I don't think that's a good way to put it. I don't think they really ran out of patience. They just
Thought a move was
finally,
available, and it
yeah, they
wasn't.
finally the clock ticked down far enough to where they finally just decided they wanted to go for it, as we have some sort of hybrid car here.
Oh, and that is the
But as if they weren't sweating qualifying already, I think these guys, we saw it was difficult to overtake there for many of these guys. I think, most everybody's really been sweating qualifying here. We saw a lot of drivers that they were in a group or stuck behind one guy pretty much the whole race. So, yeah, I think they'll be taking this qualifying session pretty serious here.
oh, someone has taken out one of the Ballards there. It's definitely a fine by any measure. Oh. And this is kind of a theme for the Tacos Locos team, putting themselves together during qualifying so they can kind of one driver follows the other into the next corner. So we have a change in the driver lineup as Delbecki is going to be putting us out on his first hot lap. Little intimidating bing bong on the underside if you're trying to pass this driver. Maybe that's going to make you lose focus a little bit. And we'll go on board since he's about to start that first corner. To be fair, Max Danny Red crash at block. What happens? Sorry about not seeing that coming before, Brian, but I'm not sure exactly. None of the teams have actually made contact with each other this race. Although we did have the Puerto Rico E-Club drivers make contact with each other in the last endurance race that they did, which was unfortunate to see them limp that home. And as well as 360 Motorsports, which I don't believe we have a single driver from 360 here right now. Am I right on that, Was? It's
Don't think. What car are they in again?
I think they're in the Mercedes. It's Will Campbell.
Yeah, you're right.
And who said he wasn't going to make it to this race, but then his teammates, both his teammates aren't here as well. I don't think so. I actually haven't seen their livery. It's the one with the anime chick.
I'm glad I haven't seen that.
As Delbecki goes with the 146.9, topping off the charts in provisional pole. With Matthew Haight with a 149, Edward the Train with a 149. We got George Elmer of Simnut Racing with a 147.5. Going across the line, who's Gabe Carnes has invalidated his lap, so he has this one attempt before he is going to be sitting in the back of the lineup there. Oh, it said he invalidated his lap. That's weird. Okay, Gabe Carnes went 147 over the line. Delbecki still holding it together. Dave Ward just crossed the line and slow in, slow out racing with a 147.8. Andy O crosses the line with a 148 even. And we have the Tacos Locos team kind of, they did a hot lap, but it must have been invalid because both of these drivers are sitting without laps completed.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think pretty much everybody set a time for the first qualifying. Maybe not, an ideal clean time. But yeah, it looks like, everybody with the split qualifying should at least get 2 flying laps, and easier said than done, obviously. But Jason, you've been on iRacing plenty, where you get a outlap and 2 flyers. I think what these guys need to try to tell themselves is you want to set like
A decent
quick
lap.
as possible, obviously, but your first lap at least isn't, you don't need to set the track on fire with that one. You need to at least just throw down like a solid banker lap, and your second lap you can go crazy all you want. But what you don't want is to invalidate both laps or set a rough lap that might be 3 or 4 seconds off the pace and end up starting at the back. Because as we saw in that first race, if you're at the back, it's easy to get stuck behind a few guys.
Absolutely.
We also saw it's trouble to overtake without having a little bit of contact. So yeah, this qualifying here is more important than most places that we race at.
Yeah, and as we go on board with Andrew Pickrell, starting Division 2 qualifying here, you can see the overall, all the red Division 3 drivers, that is the placement for where they're going to shake up to be. For the most part, we might end up seeing some Division 2 drivers not, past that 146. It's happened before, so they can get stuck in that, big red bar from 1 to 9 right there, as they are going to drop down to the back of the pack as soon as we get through Division 2 and Division 1. But I don't foresee Andrew Pickrell, very fast-paced driver, to not outbeat Andy Oak's 146.6. And if I wasn't mistaken, Daniel Cass was actually the Division 2 race winner in that last race.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think.
And I didn't catch who was actually P1 in Division 3, unfortunately. I'd have to go back and take a look.
I want to say it was Bravo, maybe?
Oh, yeah, it definitely was Bravo. Bravo was ahead of.
Yeah, I think, we do have these separate divisions, and the white division, those are the fast boys, the top guys, but we've got a lot of guys in Division 2 and 3 that are also very close pace-wise, so there's going to be a lot of exciting battles, I think, as we saw in the first race throughout the field, not just at the front.
As we have Daniel Cass going fastest right now with the 145.6. Andrew Pickrell's P2, the 145.7. Jet Engelman's 145.7 as well. And then Cornotis hitting the same marks. You can see clearly these guys are separated by less than 2/10 from P1 to P4. Wow, that is mighty impressive, as Erica Cassian gets a 146.3. Spool goes 146.7, sitting behind the 2 top runners for Division 3. Reggie King, like you said, just get bank a lap in. That way you're at least in rough standing. He gets a 147.1. Eric Miller gets a 147.3. Jason Provolone did a 148 even. And now we have none of the Division 2 drivers that have not set a lap. Now we're going to be looking at drivers that are going to be trying to improve upon their laps. We have Eric Cassian 4/10 up on his best time. And Andrew Pickerel is actually up as well. We're going to jump over to him as he's 3/10 up right now. And unfortunately for Reggie King, he invalidated his lap, and so he's gone into the pits. He's going to be starting in P. Right there in the middle of the Division 3 drivers. Would love to see Division 1 times. Yeah, you're about to see Division 1 times. They have all gone out on...
goes to bowl, and soon after, Jet knocks him off, so...
And Jack does a 145.2. Pickerel does right behind him. Cass Lashley's still right behind him. We have Eric Miller.
Top 5 guys there, overall and Division 2. I say overall so far because the Division 1 hasn't gone yet, but top 5 guys there are all separated between less than half a second, so that's encouraging for this race coming up.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to be going to a Division 1 driver now. The race winner, Danny Baisden, is out in front on this outlap. As you can clearly see, there's some of those Division 2 drivers that are going to be stuck in the Division 3 traffic. So they're going to have to try to make their way through that and then push ahead to get into a better position there. Let's say you get Jet, Pickerel, and Cass Lashley, all fast boys, and Chronotis as well. And Eric Cassian, all of them separated by, like you said, half a second. And we'll take you on board with what an alien looks like when they're driving.
This is the inside of the spaceship.
And take notes, folks. Or, go watch the Cardo Huesca lap guide, or track guide, I should say. Because both these are really great drivers. And if you're wondering where that's at, it's in the videos in the Tracklicious Twitch. So just click back a little bit.
You're okay. Kidding, obviously.
Once you admit a driver's faster than you, then you're no longer a driver? Is that what
You admit a driver's faster than you've already lost.
You can see that 143, 140. Wow. What a run as Danny Basin gets a 143.7. Gage Gonzalez overtook him on that position with a 143.9 as Gage's fastest time. Riley Minier coming in with a P2 with a 144.4. Yuka Padberg with a 145 even. With Mike Burkhoff with a 146.1. David Funk with a 145.6. Ali Raza comes across the line with a 144.5. And we're going to see him maybe replaced here. Andreas Masachero does not place a lap there. Oh, it's his first lap that he's going to be doing. He's not going to have another attempt at this. Gage Gonzalez going across the line. He's going to have one more attempt as he goes second fastest with a 144 even. And Ed Kerstetter is actually the other driver to be looking at here, as he has his only attempt to make it through, as we have contact between two drivers, or they have just gone out. Car number 47 of Mike Burkoff, car number 88 of Pat Burke. Yikes. Doesn't say they had an incident, though. As he crosses the line, it's going to be Ed Kerstetter with a 144 even, just outbeating Gage Gonzalez, who has gone into the pit lane. Riley Meniere's 5/10 faster. He overtakes Ed Kerstetter with a 143.8. David Funk holding a higher delta right now, as he's going to be crossing the line shortly. It's going to put him in a better position. I don't believe so. Only gets to 10th. Ricardo Rivera is not going to be able to improve upon his time as well. And Snyder is one of the last drivers that's going to be crossing the line, and he's not doing so well in terms of improvement. And there you have it. Oh, as Andreas was able to pull off a P6 with a 144.4. Not too bad from the top two guys. Lambo speed is mega. Definitely something. So we're going to be underway with the second race.
I think this is going to be a fun start to watch.
You have Riley Meniere in P2, having lost out many positions in the last race, finishing, I think, P8. Started P4, I believe. And Gage Gonzalez, who started provisional pole last race, sitting in P5 with Ed Kerstetter ahead of him. He split the area 52s there, as Danny Bazin was P2, and then
very, very impressive qualifying there from Danny as always, but as well Riley and Ollie. I don't think that first race, that first qualifying was really representative of their qualifying pace, so it was good to see them hook up a good lap here. And same as last race, that run into turn one's going to be interesting. I'm actually curious to see the start of the last race. Ricardo Rivera, I don't know if he just got a bad jump, timed it wrong, or maybe the Lamborghini just has better acceleration from a rolling start than the McLaren, but we'll get a chance to see that here between Riley and Danny. They're going to be watching those lights and see who can get the better jump and run down into turn one. And also something I think we can look forward to watching is, again, we've got some silver guys mixed in with the Division 1 drivers. Actually, we've got, better way to put it, we've got some Division 1 guys kind of sprinkled throughout the Division 2. So we'll see what the race pace is like. I think
yeah, and even look at that, we have it's a night race.
I think Jed Engelman's probably in a little bit of a tough spot here, because him and Andrew Pickerel are pretty close pace wise, and I think Jed's going to have to place his car in a good spot so that he's not compromised by the guys in front of him, but he's giving up time or a position to Andrew Pickerel. But 30-minute race.
Oh man,
it is tough to overtake here, but
and
like any other race, the turn one doesn't decide it.
And unfortunately, I'm not able to use my camera to take a look at these liveries. It is not allowing me to do so. It's pretty strange. So we'll just hop over some of these liveries. Actually, maybe I could just do not far chase. Sort of get the idea of some of these liveries here. Not really. It's really unfortunate. Got a little bit of a mix up there. Although we can always like this livery just because the back end there. Just to remind everybody, we are about to start a motor race. And they're also going to be going on an out lap to start. Before we do a rolling start, it's going to be a full formation lap into that. So we get underway in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Wassum, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
All right. About to get
Just
underway.
in time. Yeah, just started rolling. Yeah, you mentioned night race here, which drivers would have been able to tell that, but same as our last race, I think there were probably some guys eagerly waiting for the grid to load there so they could see what the track temps were like. I think there was probably a lot of adjustments made there to tire pressures and
Well, I mean, was there really a necessary? Was it necessary considering it's been cloudy? The temperature on track in the
yeah,
previous race
it
was 22 degrees Celsius.
yeah, that's a good point. I think yeah, got lucky there that it was very overcast. See a lot of races in real life at Hungaroring. It's actually gets quite hot there, I think. So I don't think the tire temps pressures will be that much of an issue for these guys, but it's more um, unless some of them have practiced in the dark, it might be a little tricky spotting some of these braking and turn-in points.
Yeah, and we'll go on board with one of those drivers right now. Let's go on board with, say, Gage Gonzalez. Take a look at what he's really having to deal with. Is there's no lighting except down the start straight finish, I believe. Actually, I don't even think there's lighting on the start straight.
I don't think there's any lighting.
And that is just the HUD of a McLaren. Let's go look at something like the Lambo here. Or a BMW.
Yeah, I think Jed Engelman's in a pretty good spot here, actually. You know, he's on pole for his division, and he's got Padberg in front of him, very quick driver. So I don't think he's going to have to worry at all about getting held up as the race develops. I think he'll actually be in a good position there. He'll have somebody to follow and kind of chase. That'll help him to keep his pace up, but he's just got to make sure he positions his car nicely in the first few turns and throughout the opening lap, so he doesn't give Andrew Pickerel a chance to take that lead in Division 2. But coming out of the final turn here, everybody's getting into their box.
And we're going to stay on the helo cam just to watch for any
like,
issues. Oh, Ricardo Rivera has been put into the pit box.
Green light, go, go, go.
Oh, and Jet Engelman and Delbeck, you have drive-through penalties. Oh, no.
No.
As Danny Basin's going to keep it to the inside line, and Riley Manier might be overtaken by Ed Kerstetter as they're going through. And we are 3 wide right there.
Contact.
Everybody's still clean. Ed Kerstetter down the inside line. And look at the Puerto Rico guys going right at Masachero in the background there. And that is... Well, that doesn't make any sense. I think that was just might be an error because I'm seeing both the Puerto Rico boys out there on track. As we'll finally pull this back to a reasonable track cam. We have Ed Kerstetter sitting in P2, having overtaken Riley in the second corner. No, that wasn't. Okay, so Gage Gonzalez was right next to his teammate, but Ricardo Rivera is sitting in the pit lane, having to catch up there. Unfortunate for that driver.
Did you see where we had any contact between drivers there, Jason?
Yes, car number 82 of Jason Provolone had some contact with David Ward, Delbecky. Just a little bit of contact. Nothing too bad. As we can see a battle forming right there. We'll actually go to Riley Manier. And Jet Engelman is in the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him, but fortunate for Andrew Pickerel as he's now the leader for his division.
And Danny Bays is being fastest overall right now. Has the fastest lap. He's 2/10 off of his own teammate, with Riley Manier being able to pick up the scraps, getting closer because of these drivers now having to defend against his own teammate. And we can see Padberg trying to have a run at Ali Raza. And he is awfully close. And his brake, he was a little sloppy on that curbing. Oh no. Car number 85 is in the pit lane. Ah, yikes. Car number 85 initially made contact with car number 47 of Mike Burkoff, but that was a while ago. That was within the first minute of the race.
Yeah, it looks like, where did Burkoff start at? Looks like he's down in...
He definitely didn't
not
start
even
in the
top
bottom.
20 anymore.
Yeah, wherever he was at in the middle.
Looks like there may have been an incident there.
And unfortunately, that's a repeat, if it is the case, because that would make it both those drivers have had contact in the first race and as well as this race. Ed Cursor still about 6/10 off of his teammate now. I don't think Danny Basin's going to get that comfortable run away from the pack this time, as he is having to hold contention with his other Area 52 teammate, who's also quite an alien himself. And Mike Burkoff going for an overtake on Santiago Orozco, but doesn't make it happen. And like you said, Wassum, you get stuck in the back there, and regardless, you're a passenger to it.
Exactly.
Although Provolone looks to be in... Nope, looks can be deceiving, as Eric Miller is 2/10 off of Bravo for P15. Is he going to try to have a go down the inside line? As there's a driver going awfully slow next to them. Oh no. Well, it was really unfortunate for Ricardo Rivera. He had to start at the very back of the grid. Definitely a malfunction in the rolling start there, but he's already made up some places as he goes for another one. He tucks himself back in right there. Chet Engelman, who had a drive-through penalty, also right on the heels of Rivera. Oh, as Eric Miller able to take an overtake right there on Bravo. Is it possible? They're still side by side, but he's got the inside line. He's going to be able to take that away. Eric Miller now in P15. And that just leaves Reggie King. He opened up the door. Car number 9, Gabe Carnes, all the way in the back. And
Looks like this is interesting. Looks like Danny Basin's not quite able to pull a gap like he did in the first race. I think, we're 4 laps in now on the 5th lap. I think at this point, the last race, he had about a 3-second gap. His teammate, Ed Kerster, still close behind, and Riley Manier also hanging on. So, yeah, this is good to see these guys, pace over a 1-lap pace are very close, but also at race pace, they're hanging there together. So
absolutely, he's only 2/10 off.
See how this develops.
Yeah, as we see Padberg once again battling Ali Raza for position, and they are awfully close. Let's hope we don't see a repeat of last race. Jakob Padberg did get P3, but we're going to put an asterisk on that one.
Yeah. P3 for now.
This league does have
one around the outside. This is what I was talking about last race. If you can force a guy to go defensive and get alongside around the outside, you kind of force them to take a tighter line there, which can compromise his run down into P2, or turn 2, excuse me. Yeah, just Burke's feeling his way around, trying to potentially set up an
Oh!
overtake.
No!
We have some contact there.
As both Turner
As you
Motorsports
can,
drivers go past Bravo, who was sitting in P2, and you see Reggie give the position back, and that is awfully unfortunate to see. It's have a good night, Shy Guy. Hope you thank you, appreciate you saying so. Happy have a good one.
Thank you.
And that is you know, you hate to see it. We still got, you know, a full 20 minutes left of this race, and an incident like that put Bravo out of contention for P2. Sort of. He's going to make up at least 3 seconds on Edward the Train, who's now sitting in P2 with Andy Oak way ahead of them. And we have this rough train. Oh, is that Gage Gonzalez just goes wide and he gets overtaken by Daniel Caslassie? As it looks to be, he has a little bit of damage. I might be mistaken there. No? Does...
Eric Gukosian also snuck through there, I believe.
Yes, he did. Gage is down to
Eric
12.
And Cornadis did.
That is highly irregular. As Spool has a go down the inside line and overtakes Gage Gonzalez. What is happening for this driver? Oh.
Doesn't look like any obvious damage on the car. I wonder.
His error must have been. Oh, and there's Ed Kersetter down the outside line, and he overtakes Danny Baston into the chicane.
Wonder these teammates here. So obviously they're going to be in a voice chat together talking. I wonder. I don't think that would have been a position swap. Maybe Danny might have just made a mistake there between turn 4 and turn 5. Yeah, we
absolutely.
Did have a leader here. I want to, as Riley Manier is following close behind, watching this all unfold.
And
a lot of action here. A lot of action.
And one of the frustrating things is Gage Gonzalez is definitely a top 10 driver, and he's sitting in P13 right now, having lost out on a lot of positions throughout the first race. Now sitting in P13. I don't know what to make of it. The Puerto Rico e-racing club is just not having a good night. Oh wait, there goes Andreas Masachero side by side with Padberg. Padberg having the overall fastest lap of the race.
This is really good, though. I mean, we're nearing the halfway point of this race, and if my math is correct, which it's usually not, looks like between P1 and P5, only separated by 5 seconds. So really promising. It's
you're not wrong.
Looks like we could have a pretty exciting finish to this race if we've got some
lap
traffic here.
It's kind of strange to have lap traffic already.
Yeah, I think there's been a few guys maybe had some technical issues. I know we also saw a couple drive-throughs there. Surprisingly, and I hope I don't commentator curse anybody, I don't think anybody got a drive-through for track limits in
no.
first race.
Oh no.
Which is pretty common here at Hungaroring to get off-track penalties. It's easy to run wide through some of these turns.
I don't know what to even make of this, Wassum. We have Dave Funk dropping down the leaderboard to P13. Gage Gonzalez is now ahead of him, but still Spool sits ahead of him. Chronotis swept through and is now P10. Erica Cassian sitting in P9. Cassidy is 8. Pickerel is 7th. He's got a 12-second gap to Andreas Monticello. Like you were saying, Ed Kersetter still holding P1 over Dayton Baisden. And from P1 to P6, there's a 5-second gap between all those drivers.
Yeah, I think this is going to get kind of interesting here, as you know, these guys would obviously like to get a 1-2 for their team, and I think it's certainly possible. But Riley Minear's catching up here, and you know, we still don't know how Ed actually got P1 there. I don't know if Danny made a mistake or something.
It looked like he was wide and
yeah.
Ed was tight through that corner. And it was.
I think if you're Riley here, you want to be looking at Riley Minear, very calculated driver. I think he'll be checking what. He's not really going to be worried about what Danny's lap times are. He's going to be focused on what times Ed Kersetter's doing, because if he can match or even do better than Ed, which I think he can based off his qualifying, yeah, if he can keep up with Ed, he can definitely keep up with Danny, as Danny may, I think, probably has a 10th or 2 on Ed, but...
oh, why did he go so wide right there?
Yeah, I think,
he's been closing the gap ever so slightly. He's been, you know, 2/10 off of him, 3/10 off, but now he's half a second again. And we have Andreas going on board with him. He has front row seats to Padberg and Raza still battling it out. And as you're saying, Wassum, it looks like Riley Minear is getting closer, and they're going to go side by side through that corner. Oh, whoa. And Ollie Raza had to let he kind of had to allow him through that, which is why Andreas ended up going a little bit slower. Didn't want to hit. He had to let up, so.
Gets a run out of that corner, runs a little bit, using the extra runoff there.
And Ollie giving him enough space right there so that they both can make it through, but not enough for him to take the position.
Yeah, as these guys squabble, it looks like Andrew Pickerel, our Division II leader, looks like Daniel Caslass's caught him up a little bit.
Absolutely. We have a 13-second gap from P6 to P7. Andrew Pickerel leading this charge. Daniel Caslass, he's P2 in the Division 2 shot, as we got a Chronotis. Oh, I thought he was a little bit closer there, but yeah, as you were saying, Pickerel has to really worry about Daniel Caslass, as this is for their division championship. And he,
as Pickerel runs a little wide there, this might give Caslass a sniff down into turn 2. Looks like they're coming up on a back marker as well, right where you don't want to, going into the tight section of turn 2, or sector 2, excuse me. Yeah, I think Andrew Pickerel really has to watch here and position his cars.
Steiner moves out of the way right there.
Yeah, so that was good to see. Letting these guys go ahead and battle it out.
And Cassius is losing a little bit of speed here. But you know who's not?
Oh, looks
Oh,
like
that was some
Ed gets
contact.
compromised by back marker there, as we have two teammates running side by side down the
Oh my
front straight.
God, is it gonna shake
We
out?
got Dan. We'll see. They'll be talking here. Are we gonna get the gloves off, or are we gonna
Oh,
try to
he
bring
lets
in this
him
1-2
go.
guy? Yeah.
But he goes wide. That opens the door for Danny. Not enough. He was compromised, but he was not. He didn't. They didn't make contact. Just to make everyone aware that that CC Racing driver did not make contact with Ed Kerstetter. Just compromised him. Chronotis gonna have a go at Eric Cassian. Possibly. No, he stays to the outside. Maybe trying to get a better run.
So I think he might have a chance down in the turn 2. We'll see who's braver on the brakes. Eric defends.
Yeah, that's a really good defense right there from Eric. As we still have this little train going.
Yeah, it's hard.
Oh no, that's not what you want to do. Exiting the track to allow people past is suboptimal.
Not advisable.
Yeah. Just race
Seems
your
like
race
we're having a
and
lot more lap traffic here in this second race.
oh, and that is Jet Engelman
Looks like
going
he
to the
stopped
pits.
and returned to pits. I wonder if Jet had an incident there.
He did
Yeah, a
previously.
lot of battles here.
And look, you know, we've seen some drivers be able to make some overtakes, but it just seems like it's a huge endeavor to just even make that one pass anywhere on this track, make it work. As a lot of these drivers are defending that left-hander going into turn 2. As I say that, Danny Basin's about 2/10 off of Ed Kerstetter as they're about to go through the fast left-hander. Riley Muir in the back right there. Just having a... I think he's just maintaining right now as Hey Jackbot, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. And if you guys are a fan of the GT3 series that we have here, we also do a GT4 league as well on Thursdays, right after the 9for9 Twitch stream that goes up. I think theirs ends at like 8 p.m. Eastern or 8:10, I believe. You can check them out at 9for9 Sim Racing. So they have another wonderful league. As he is not able to improve, we do have Chronotis still on the heels of Eric Cassian. It's hard to say. Oh, it looks like Eric's already going for the defense. He's going to stick on it.
Real tight. There's
And it
Crane
drives him,
late on the brake.
yeah, way wide.
White, hold it.
Through the chicane they go.
Oh, as Ed makes a little bit of a mistake, runs wide as they're side by side.
Oh no! Danny Bass is going into a wall!
That is going to cost him at least one position. Where's
As
Padberg?
Padberg
There
goes
he
through.
goes.
Oh, and
And Danny Basin that quickly is out of a podium position. As
And it's the
just
little
have a
mistakes.
swarm of BMWs come up on them.
As Andreas
They're
goes to the inside line, overtaking Ollie Raza through that corner. What a move for Andreas. Oh, my. Oh, no. They make contact.
Chronotis gets up there.
Oh, and he pinned.
Oh!
No. And that
Oh,
is
boys.
Andy Oak also involved in that incident. I can't. No, it is not Andy Oak. It's his teammate. Thank you for that at least, right?
Mike Burke getting a drive-through. I'm guessing that's going to be for track limits.
That was Andy
Yeah,
Oak, right?
starting
No,
to get a lot of action here.
55. Oh,
Looks like Chronotis went for a move at the inside, and there was contact at the turn-in, and
yeah.
Eric got spun off into the wall, and unfortunately, I think that was Spool that may have gotten collected in that.
That was who it was. That's who I was looking at. It is Spool, who was looking to finish really decently. Oh no, as when it rains it pours. Danny Bazin has a drive-through penalty, and so does Mike Burkhoff.
And, yeah, so it looks like Riley's down to half second. Behind Ed Kerster gets a nice run here. Ed has to defend it. I think Riley's shown a lot of patience and kept the pressure on these Area 52 guys. And
Absolutely.
he's got it down between him and Ed. Looks like he's got probably about 3 laps left here to try to set up a move and takes the lead. Speaking of, it looks like Andrew Pickrell and Daniel Caslas is still running pretty close for the lead of Division 2.
It's Danny Bazin and it's gonna be weird to see where he shakes up as we have some of these drivers were lapped previously. You really do hate to see a Cardo. I mean, not only rough go for Danny Bazin, but also Cornotis and Cacassian's battle collected 2 other drivers involved, and that is unfortunate as well.
I think there's going to be quite a few incidents for our stewards to look over.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we have a
car number 47.
stopped on the track. That's Mike Burkhoff.
And car 17 of Eric Miller. No contact made. You know, what's interesting, Was, is that Riley Meniere's had 2 off-track incidences, so he's gone fully off the board, and yet he's still, making good time here. Is Danny Bazin.
Adberg's also closed up the gap to Riley Meniere's.
Mm-hmm.
Got a back marker kind of getting out of the way and letting these guys fight it out themselves.
And with that drive-through penalty, we have Daniel Casas is trying to have a go at him. Into the right-hander.
Another lead change here for our Division 2 guys.
And Daniel Casas, he takes P1 for the Division 2 drivers, is Andrew Pickrell, now sitting in P2. Spool gets a stop-and-go penalty. Oh, that is unfortunate. It's just, you get into that frustration a little bit, and
another move, Jason Provolone.
Oh, he backs out of that completely, and that just shows the class of a driver being able to know when it's not meant to be. Oh, as we go on board with David Funk, Area 52 Sim Racing, their 3rd driver, he goes to the inside line, and Eric Gucassian doesn't really make much fuss about it. And their coach Jason Provolone on the outside line Both overtake him.
Beautiful move by Provolone, but he's not going to be able to hold it as he runs a little wide.
I would say a lot wide.
I think Provolone's smart here.
A little bit of
his race isn't necessarily as David's fun because they're in different divisions, but maybe he can take advantage of Eric Gukosian's line getting compromised. It looks like he's closed up behind him a little bit. See if he can make a move here at some point through the middle sector. As Eric runs a little wide, I think that's going to give Provolone the
he just
position.
overtakes him.
I think Eric might be suffering a little bit of damage as Pickrell and Caslas is still battling it out. I think this one's going to go down to the final lap.
Going on board with Jakob Padberg in P3 of the overall and Division 1. He's 0.3 off of Riley Manier.
Nice run there. And a lot of pressure here. It looks like Ed's not so much feeling the pressure from Riley anymore, but
yeah, he's a second and a half off.
I think Riley's going to have a lot of pressure here on the final gap because if you're Riley, you got to think that Padberg, if he just gets a little bit of a sniff here, you know, the last lap, he's going to go for it if he gets the chance.
And this race is ending, folks. So this comes down to this last sector. I don't really feel like Padberg has a move to make, but he's...
looks like Riley's did what he needed to do. He's
he went a little wide.
Oh no! What happens here? Riley covers it off well into the final turn. It looks like he's just going to be able to hang on to that P2, but
and there you have it.
Off the base of those guys, they kept it consistent, brought home podiums. I think they'll be happy with that.
Absolutely, Danny Baston trying to make a move.
As
against Andrew Pickrell.
Danny.
It's still not over just yet for some of these drivers. Just the top 5. It's Kerstetter, Manier, Padberg, Montecero, Ali Raza, Daniel Cass actually takes P1 for Division 2. Andrew Pickrell takes P2. Danny Basin in 8th overall. Gage Gonzalez 9th. Cronotis 10th. Rivera 11th. We have Andy Oak taking the Division 3 P1. Jose Bravo P2. And George Elmer in P3 for the Division 3. And Cronotis takes the P3 for Division 2. As we are winding this down. And it all ends where it started, with an Area 52 landing that top spot in both races. Wassum, it's a hard-fought battle there.
Yeah, a lot of action. I don't want to say too much action because you can never have too much action in a race, but I think we had some trouble keeping an eye on all of it there.
Oh, absolutely. It was really just all over.
A lot of guys closely matched on pace and skill level.
And we'll pull both our drivers here. Let's start with Pat Burke. Padberg, congratulations on a P3 finish in both races, although the first race is definitely going to be an asterisk, as there was a little bit of action that happened. In your own words, do you feel that there's might be any punishment happening for what happened in that first race?
I do think that there will be a punishment coming. But in my opinion, I broke where I was breaking, but it's racing, so it happens.
All right, and well, but you do get a solid P3 finish. Some unfortunate business happened with Danny Baisden, and that opened the door for you. Did you feel like you might have had a chance at Riley Manier in that second race, or was it just coming down to an end?
Green light. Go, go, go.
Definitely, I definitely could have had him if I didn't have 3 track cuts.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I may have commentator cursed a few guys because from the first race, from what I remember, nobody got a drive through for off tracks, but I think a couple guys got called out by that, and it definitely affects your race and how aggressive you can be. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
mm-hmm. And,
But
overall though, Padberg, you showed great pace. You were wheel to wheel with Ollie Raza for half that race. It was incredible. Actually, the majority of that race, and so that was really awesome, impressive. Same thing with the first race. I mean, there's like a line of 4 of you, just like a couple tenths off. So congratulations, Padberg, and congrats on the
Yeah,
podium
thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah, thank you.
And Riley, no stranger to being on the podium, taking that second step. How do you feel, man?
I feel good. I felt like maybe I could have had Ed there. There was a little bit of a bump, but it's racing, so we'll see what happens, what comes of that. I don't think much is going to. I don't think anything's going to really. But it was a hell of a fight. I just got too close to Ed in the end there, and I could feel my tires going. So I also had 3 track cuts. So Padberg was not the only one there. So.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate what happened to Danny Baisden in that second race. Is he looked to have a little bit of an opening when Ed went wide, and it actually ended up taking him into a bad angle onto the next turn, which unfortunately is why he ended up turning slightly into the wall and losing a
Yeah,
little bit there.
I did see him spin, and I was like, "Whoa, what happened there?" And then I just was like, "Okay, I just gotta put my head down and try and catch Ed." Ed had some really bad runs through a couple of sectors there, and I should have done a better job and just guarded off. Otherwise, I would have had him. Uh, like I was
Mm-hmm.
ahead of him at one point, but I just made a dumb play and didn't like hold him off. So I'm disappointed about it. But
Yeah.
it's
what
not the end of
was
the world.
as we have Ed here too? What Riley? I hope you would agree with this, but I was saying I feel like you're a very calculated driver. While you're driving, you're kind of playing out different scenarios, where to make moves, where to make a play or not. What was your thoughts watching Ed and Danny running close there for a while? Did you ever feel like maybe they
I,
were compromising each other a little bit, and
I
you might
think
have gotten a
whoever was
chance there?
behind was being compromised by whoever was in front because of tire wear. That's the terrifying thing. If you follow too close in this game, like your tires just wear for some reason, like way harder. So I felt like I was at a comfortable like second and a half back where I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
receiving any of that. I was just kind of able to run with the guys. So I was pretty happy to be in that position, but at the same time, I could tell towards the end, running too close to Ed, I was compromising myself as well. So.
Yeah. Well,
I
congratulations,
wouldn't say I'm
Riley.
I wouldn't say I'm that calculated either. I'm very emotional when I drive.
Yeah, could be said. But Danny Basin, Ed Kersetter, congratulations, Danny Basin. Just going to you first from the last race. You really, you know, were successful in keeping good pace, but you had drivers from 2 on to 7, all within like tenths of each other, and they were just creating a gap that you then fulfilled. Like I think you were at like a 7-second difference by the end of the race. You felt nothing really on that one, did you?
Which race? Race one?
Yeah.
Race one, yeah.
Race one, Andreas was really, really good that race. He had pace towards the end of the race that was better than mine, and
Mm-hmm.
cut a lot of the lead down. So, no, congrats to Andreas. He had a awesome race, and congrats to Ed on his win in race 2.
Yeah, I mean, well, just focusing a little bit, because of you had a great P1 finish, and then and it looked like you had like a compromised line in sector 2, which opened the door for Ed to get by. Was that what ended up happening? We saw the back end of that in race 2.
Yeah, honestly, I lost all of my braking points in the dark, and I was just driving poorly, and Ed made an awesome move around me, and from that point through the rest of the race was just a fun fight with him. So
Cool.
hats off to Ed. He really deserves that win. It was well done.
Yeah, and
Was there ever any discussion about team orders there, or was it gloves off between you guys?
There are no team orders.
There's
We just
never
like
team
racing
orders.
close.
Good.
So.
That's what we like
It's-
to hear.
We always tease Ed because as soon as the race starts, he mutes himself, so he just disappears until the end of the race. So
Okay.
even if I wanted to say, "Hey Ed, go around me," or whatever else, he wouldn't have heard me. But yeah, no team orders. We like fighting each other.
But
well,
it was good to
congrats,
see.
Danny.
It was fun to watch you guys. I think between you two guys and Riley in race 2, you were within 2 or 3 seconds the majority of the race. So that was really cool to watch. Good job.
Yeah,
It was really cool because it looked like the final 6, the top 6 or the top 5 were all separated by 6 seconds total, I want to say.
yeah, it was 5
Yeah.
seconds for a while, and then it jumped a little bit, but yeah, overall, and then Ed Kerstetter, what a fantastic finish for you, getting on that top step. How do you feel? Did you what actually? First off, was your race kind of compromised in that corner after the chicane, what Danny tried to go down the inside line, which unfortunately had him in the wall at the end?
Yeah, I feel a little bad for that one because we were talking about it at the end of the race. Because I take that corner hitting the curb, and Danny doesn't. So when I took that outside line, I took it to leave him enough space as if he hit the curb. Had the left sides up on the curb, and I felt like that kind of messed him up and caused him to spin. So apologies there, Danny. But it was a good race. I think Riley and Padberg were quicker. I was missing break points like Danny was, but slightly less worse because I had him in front to kind of gauge. But it was tricky there. They definitely had pace. I feel like if they were out front, it would have been hard to catch those two.
Yeah, that's something I didn't even think about. So the night race, are you guys comfortable with night races? It seems like you had some issues with the braking points.
Yeah. My first laps were in queue, so like I didn't have decent braking points in the when it was daytime, let alone night. And for whatever reason, this track is just difficult. I think it's just because the braking points are just less visible. It's less signs and more like markings that are just harder to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations, Ed, on the fantastic finish. Race 1. Not sure exactly what happened, but I mean, you were able to try to move your way through the pack a little bit, which was impressive to see.
Yeah, race 1, there was a warp bug or something. Whoever was in front of me was like 4 seconds in front, and then they warped behind, and then like ludicrous speeded up, and I was in the straight line path that the game took to like anchor them, and it was like I hit a wall and just spun me around. So that was unfortunate, but almost clawed back up to those guys battling. But with 20 seconds of damage, the car wasn't all that fast. Race 1, but luckily I had a good race too.
Yeah, great. Well, congratulations to all of you guys on all of that. That was really impressive. It was the battles. Actually, it kind of got exciting with the last like 4 minutes of the race on race 1, and I would say the entire race 2 was just nothing but good battles. Wass, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean I feel like again, you guys said racing in the dark's pretty difficult here. But also I feel like it's track rhythm and consistency and flow is very important, and it's a situation where if you make one slight mistake, especially in the middle sector, you know that you're going to give the guy behind a chance. And looked like you guys were very consistent, running close the whole race, and that's not easy to do. So good job, guys.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And welcome to the broadcast booth, by the way. It was awesome to hear your voice at Zolder, and hopefully we
Oh,
get to hear it
well,
more.
well, thank you. I'll,
With that being said, I did want to remind our viewers that we are looking for a streamer for GT4s. The awesome Reed Aldred is unfortunately for us moving on to some bigger and better things. So if there's anyone out there that's interested in streaming our GT4 series on Thursday nights, we'd love to have you. There's no experience necessary. We'll get you prepped up for the race next Thursday. So anyone out there interested, including you, Was, wink, wink. No, you're in the series. I forgot. Sorry.
Not
But yeah.
anymore.
sort of, if you want to put it that way.
But yeah, looking for a streamer, and then also just a quick reminder: March 12th, we have our Nürburgring 2-hour 40-minute solo with 949, the awesome guys at 949. We're expecting a pretty great turnout this next enduro. So if you're interested in torturing yourself for 2 hours and 40 minutes, by all means join us. There's going to be some awesome drivers out there, a great field, and I expect it to be an awesome race. So look forward to seeing all you guys out there. And just a quick thank you to everyone in here, the drivers, awesome job. Unfortunately, as a driver, I don't get to see your inch perfect battles up front, but I'll definitely be watching the stream. And a huge thanks to Jason Alvarez and Cody Wassum. You guys are awesome. Jason, thank you for anchoring our GT3 series. So awesome to have you on, and greatly appreciate it. So thank you for that. Well, I don't have anything else to say, so I'll let you guys close it off.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and have a good one.
Thanks